So I can see there are 10 students who have joined. Shall we wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start? That's okay. Okay, before we have a quick, before we start, uh, how many of you have joined my last, the session which was, around the orientation? Who all have joined? Are you there with me? Jaidev, Ramanathan, Ram, Rahul, who all have joined with me in the last orientation session?
I didn't
I
join,
see.
unfortunately. I'm joining
Oh,
the
you
first
were
class
not.
today. Yeah.
Oh, you are
Sir,
joining your first
sir,
class.
I joined,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, Jaidev. I can see Sneha, you have joined. Thank you. What about others?
I haven't joined actually.
Okay, fair enough. So, folks, let's start with the quick recap. Where did we left last time? Probably Ram and others who haven't joined. While I'll share my the notes which you can go through that. But a quick recap. So today we are starting with the CIA part one, which is internal audit fundamentals. And within internal audit fundamentals, as per the plan, we would be covering study unit one and study unit two. In terms of the weightages and how important the CIA part one from a overall course standpoint. If you see CIA Part One, covers a significant weightage from a overall, from a completion standpoint, and within that, this particular topic, which is the foundation of internal audit, and that particular subject have a significant weightage from an overall marks standpoint. Let me just quickly share my screen. In the interest of time, I'll keep it short and quick, and let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
So part one covers 125 questions, and the total questions would be roughly around overall it's a 600 which is a passing score, but it's the 2.5 hours exam which covers part one. Part two and part three we are not having the session at this point of time. We will do it once we complete part one session. Quickly moving to what does part one covers. So if you see from a CIA part one standpoint, we have foundation of internal audit. There are 4 subject units. Then you have ethics and professionalism. There are 1 subject unit. You have governance and risk management. There you will be having again 4 subject unit, and then you will be having fraud risk. That's what we will be covering from the for part one standpoint. If you see study unit one, we are starting with 2 study units, which is we are giving 2 days to study unit one, which is foundation of internal audit. That is on 18th and 19th. So overall, if you see, study unit 1, 2, 3, and 4, the overall weightage is out of entire part one subject. This 4 study unit will cover 44 questions, overall weightage of 35%. The plan is 18th and 19th, which is today and tomorrow, will be covering this particular subject, which is foundation of internal audit. There are 4 chapters to it, which is purpose of internal audit. Then you have internal audit charter, mandate, governance and the risk independence, and the risk management. That is something we'll be covering today and tomorrow. Next week we'll be covering assurance services 1 and assurance services. Assurance service has again 2 chapters which we'll be covering on 25th and 26th. Assurance service 2 is slightly smaller subject, but we'll cover it only in one day. And then advisory service we'll be covering on 3rd May. Ethics and professionalism, we plan to cover on 9th and 10th. We are giving it's a 20% weightage, 1 subject unit. So very, very important from a course standpoint, we'll be covering on 9th and 10th. And the balance remaining, which is study unit 6, 7, 8, and 9, with the overall weightage of 30%. These are the dates, session dates. And you don't need to worry. I'm just doing a quick recap what we covered last time. And the last but not the least is the fraud risk, which is on with a weightage of 15%, which we'll be covering on 20th and 21st of June. Doubt session will be on 27th June. On top of this, whenever we are covering any of the study units, we would be touching base, the sampled type of questions, what typically, we have seen from a pattern standpoint, what typically the from an examination standpoint, what kind of a questions you would be getting, how and what to choose in case if you are not clear. But obviously that's the last option. But first and the primary important thing is to have a clear concept in terms of what is the overall coverage and what exactly the rules, the definitions, the clarity has to be there when it comes to a complete command on your topic. So that was a quick recap from a CIA Part 1 study unit, structured, and from a getting yourself enrolled. I hope everybody have got themselves registered. If not, you still have time. Don't worry. Once you are ready with your CIA Part 1, and by mid-June, once we complete this course, you can go ahead, get yourself enrolled in CCMS, create your own profile, pay the membership fee, and then do not wait for the last hour. Go ahead, schedule your exams, give your exams. So this was a quick recap for the folks who are joining for the first time. From a registration standpoint, from a CCMS standpoint, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to admin team from a VGLD, and they will be able to guide you. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope it does.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Guys, if you find I'm little fast, if you're unable to understand, please feel free to stop me. But, do not, my only fundamental ask is, if your basics are not strong, you will get confused. It's a multiple choice questions. A simple thing is, if you are getting a questions, there are 4 options. It's easy for you to strike out 2 options. The problem starts with the balance 2. And 100% of the time, if you do not pay attention, you will get confused between option 1 and option 2, which are so closer. Because if you do not understand some of the keywords, that will, at times create a problem. Hence, it's important, complete attention. And if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Okay. So with that said, let's start with the session. And, just a minute, let me change once again. Okay. So, friends, let me start with a quick story. So assume you are in a corporate organization, and and I hope everybody is familiar with the corporate organization. Take an example. There is a company called, let's go with a company called, XYZ Limited, which is a public limited company, which means that it is listed in the NSE or BSE, whatever it is. It's a listed on a stock exchange. That company have a complete board of directors. The company have a CFO. The company have a chairman, managing directors, and you have a multiple different functions are there. Now that company is into manufacturing of, take example, any stationery product. Okay. When they manufacture a product, so they have their own manufacturing plant, they are manufacturing the products, and then they are selling the product in the market. Now, during the course of manufacturing and during the course of selling the product, what we call the entire supply chain, there are certain expenses, there are significant number of transactions which gets incurred internally and externally. When I use the word internally, it means if you have to manufacture a stationery, you need to purchase a raw material. And when you need to purchase a raw material, you will go in the market, you will source the raw material, then you do a proper manufacturing. There are internal, direct labor cost, there are indirect labor cost. And then when you sell in the market, there are selling and distribution expenses which eventually get incurred. And then finally, those expenses are get you need to do some bit of a marketing advertisement, and finally the product gets sold in the market. In this entire value chain, at each of the activity, there are processes which has been laid down by the organization. Now take a scenario that CFO is a you can say the chief financial officer, monitors all sorts of expenses. Now there are certain expenses which was incurred by somebody in the organization, and someone came and the CFO has incurred some expenses. Take an example, okay, or somebody from procurement department has incurred some expenses which is outside of the company policy. It went to CFO and CFO has approved that expenses, which was not as per the company's laid down policies. The board and the management are not aware of such expenses. Or take an example, CFO has incurred the expenses and he himself has approved his expenses. Now, when board, now typically for a listed company, definitely in today's world for an unlisted company, there are periodic meetings which happens by board of directors and other senior leaderships, independent directors. And during that discussion, they typically discuss about the company's well-being, about the process, about the performance, about the revenue, and everything get discussed. And then CFO has presented, everything looks fine. I have audited. I don't find any issue. This is what CFO has told in the board meeting. Now, can somebody tell me the story which I have laid down? And I'll take a quick recap what I have stated down. The expenses incurred, CFO has approved that expenses, and those expenses were not as per the policy. When it went to board of directors, during that presentation, the CFO explained, I have audited, I haven't found anything, I have approved the expenses, there is no problem with that. Can somebody tell me what's the problem in this particular entire statement? Anyone? You can raise your hand, please feel free to talk.
Hi, Ram Kumar here. So
Yeah, please go ahead.
the first issue is it is not approved as per the policy. So
Very
that was
good.
not identified by CFO.
Correct.
That is the first mistake. And so CFO ideally would have some line of defense to make sure that that is approved as per the policy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So see, that's where the organization gets failed. Couple of things. And when we get into the literal definition of what is internal audit, or what is the purpose of internal audit, the first and the foremost thing is CFO approving an expenses, or take an example. One, he is approving an expenses which is not as per the policy. Second, if he is approving his own expenses, that's the independence issue. Third, he hasn't followed the processes which was laid down. And from a governance standpoint, he has falsified the entire information to the board of directors. Now, this is a very simple, small example which typically you will find in day-to-day of your life. Whenever you go to any organization, these are simple example, $10, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees. Nobody questions those money. But slowly and gradually, if you do not have that independence in place, the governance in place, which look after your organizational from a goals and objective standpoint, the organization stands fail slowly and gradually. So after and the same thing is happening for years and years and years, and finally it will fall down. What happened with the likes of Satyams? What has happened with the likes of Lehman Brothers? These are similar kind of an example where, in spite of having a right functions, they were not able to report directly to the board of directors, or there were some conflicting roles. There were not a clear governance in place, and the organizations get failed. Now, who is going to question us? We as a stakeholder, the senior management, the societies, the customers, the suppliers, the society, and the people at the large. They are the one who have invested in that company, and they start questioning about their, about their financial reporting, about their processes, and all those systems. And hence, it's important that we need to have right functions to be put in place who look after this entire processes And that the function is nothing but internal audit function, what we call third line of defense. I'll talk about what is third of line of defense, but here the objective of having an internal audit is basically, you know, to look. So internal, what is internal audit? Internal audit is basically, it's an independent function. Assurance, objectives, managing the organization policies and procedures, and adding value to the organization. That is internal audit functions. Let me share my screen. I hope everybody have study unit 1. Have you received the study unit 1 or part 1 books or collaterals or anything? I hope yes. Okay. Can you see the PDF? I hope yes. Okay. So let's quickly understand what is the purpose of internal audit and what is internal audit. So as I have stated, internal audit is an independent. Please mark this word. It's very, very important. Independent function. Then the second word is assurance, objective assurance and advisory services. This is the second one. The first was independent. The second was objective assurance and advisory services designed to add value. This is the third one, add value and improve. So there are 3 words in the definition. Internal audit is an independent, objective and advisory function, add value and improve an organization operations. Now, if you really break down these 3 words, so what is independent? Independent is nothing but it's talk about you need to have someone who is not involved in day-to-day operations, right? Which is your first line of defense. You need to have someone who is not part of second line of defense, which is basically who doesn't build the control. You need to have somebody from third line of defense, which is who review those controls independently. He or she cannot be engaged in the day-to-day operations, engage in the manufacturing process of that plant, engage in the transactional activity of the plant. So it's important that the function is independent, which is, the positioning itself is independent. Think about this function is independent. This function's only responsibility is to look after the internal control process of an organization. Very, very important word, guys. So that's organizational positioning. No other responsibility. That's independent. Second word, assurance and consulting. What is assurance and consulting? The internal auditor doesn't, come as a watchdog. We are not here to watchdog, find the fault, hit with our observations, fire them from the company. That's not the objective. Our objective is to advise the company. Hey, this is something what you're not doing right. You need to look after your processes, identify the gaps, provide a recommendation. This is the guidance what we give. We give an advice to our senior management. Based on our advice, they make their own annual planning. They make their own how we should operate. If there are any weaknesses in their processes, they look after those weaknesses based on guidance of internal auditors. So if you see dual responsibility, objective assurance, that's an assurance and advisory to the senior management. That's a dual responsibility. And the third is adding value to the organization. See why we are doing these things. If a CFO would have got that bill passed, or assume that bill got passed, $100. Tomorrow it will be $10,000. After a month, it will be $100,000. After 10 years, you will see that's $1 million of money which got siphoned from the organization. That's a loss to organization. It doesn't add value. So what is your role? Your role is to identify the weaknesses in the processes, provide a recommendation, and then eventually advise your stakeholder. That entire cycle means that you are not only doing a tick box exercise. You are again playing a dual role in providing value and improving the organization goals and objectives. Folks, this chapter and this particular sentence, mark me, you will get one question definitely with this particular statement. The definition of internal audit is the first question what you will be getting in your exam. So definitions becomes very, very, very relevant. You will get a statement like, you know, let me show you one thing, and then you might 1 second. And folks, please feel free to ask any questions if there are any doubts.
Hi.
Yeah.
So what is objective assurance?
See, typically, if okay, so now let's take an a simple example. Uh, what do you mean by the word objective? What do you mean by the word assurance?
So as an auditor, I cannot assure 100%. Or so suppose if I'm reviewing one project, right? So I cannot give 100% because I'm doing a sampling thing to do. Hence, I'll not be in a position to assure that I have reviewed 100%. So I cannot.
Okay.
So
okay,
basically,
okay. That's okay. That's okay. So let me break it for you. There's a two words, objective, and other word is assurance. Okay. Objective means there is no conflicting. It's completely free from bias. You as an internal audit, you are not a biased person. You are free from bias. And that's the reason management has appointed you. Free from bias, no conflicting roles, and hence you are doing an auditing, you are giving an assurance that I have checked this sample based on the sample criteria which was defined. I haven't done 100% review, so I am not giving 100% assurance. I am giving a limited assurance, which means if I have done internal audit for P2P processes, which is procure to pay processes, I checked a sample for last 3 months. This was a sampling criteria. I checked all the evidence and supporting and I haven't found any problem. I am giving an assurance based on the sample selected, evidence provided. I am giving an assurance. So objective assurance, somebody free from bias and then giving an assurance which is based on evidence. I am objective assurance.
got it. Thanks.
Good. So you as an individual, nobody can influence you. It's a very important thing trait. Internal auditor, whether it's CFO, CEO, or MD, they can't influence you. They can tell you, they can provide their point of view. Now, ultimate decision lies with you for you to evaluate, look after the bigger picture, check all your evidence and supporting document, and then form an opinion. And when you form an opinion, it's an independent opinion, which is objective, assurance, and then providing a consulting view. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question, folks? Please keep on asking because if you do not ask, you will not be clear. So it's important, folks. Please keep on asking the questions. That will actually help you to get these definitions clear in your mind.
Sir, independent means you are a freedom or job.
Sorry, come again.
Sir, independence here showing that is a freedom or job. What are you doing? You have the free of mind. What are the object? You have to work accordingly.
Yes and no. See, don't go into the literal definition of independent. Independent does not mean that I'm free. Independent means I am not getting influenced. Point number one, I'm not getting influenced by anyone. Nobody
Yes.
can influence me. Second,
Yes.
I can't be biased. Third, I don't have additional responsibility. My only responsibility is to do an audit. I'm not doing a transactional management. I'm not, doing any other responsibility. My only objective is to do that work which have been assigned. as an internal audit function. So I'm independent. So me as an individual, I'm independent only for one work, which is internal audit. Think from that language.
Okay.
Yeah, Ritika, you were saying something?
No, sir, I'm just adding one point, that is independent decisions or decisions are free for the auditors.
Yeah, see, decisions are free, but at many a times, you can't, provide your decisions. You know, see, you should see decisions are free does not mean that you are violating your independence. Independence doesn't get connected with your decisions. Decisions are free, but it does not mean you. So, if you see from a literal meaning of independence, assurance, objective, and value to the organization, it is not about decisioning. Decisioning is something when we reach to the stage of internal execution, that's where we'll be talking about decision. Here, independence is nobody can influence you, you are unbiased, and you are free from conflicting roles and responsibility. Okay, guys, actually I was trying to do some kind of a poll here, but unfortunately this was not working for me. Let me share my screen for 1 second. Actually, the poll is not working. Actually, I've created some kind of a survey poll for you guys, but when I'm trying to submit, it's not allowing me to submit, which I'll figure out next in tomorrow's class. But just give me a second. Okay, share. Okay, guys, there is a question on your screen. Okay, take your 30 seconds, and again, if I request everyone, typically it would have been best if you could have done a poll, but somehow it's not working. But can somebody give me an answer to this question? See, guys, don't that whatever I'll be saying it's a wrong or whatever is it. Please feel free to provide the answer on this one. I'll read it if there is an issue to. I hope the screen is visible, right, guys?
Yeah, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, A, adding value to the organization.
Okay, I'll take it as of now, yes, but it may not be correct. Who else? So on chat box, I can see option C, Sneha Soni, Puneet A, Madhusudan A, Ritika B, Ramkumar A, Anjali C, Vidya C, Rahul C, Ramanathan C, very good. Go ahead, go ahead. C, Ekta, very good. A and C, wow. Jaidev, you don't get an option to give two options in exams. You have to
So
select only one.
only A.
Only A, okay. Okay, guys, that's okay. Okay, can someone explain me why? So again, most of them cases is A and C, except one who has written as Ritika. You wrote B. Ritika, let me start with you. Why B, Ritika?
So internal audit is mostly around the financial statement, even though business processes are also there. But we are there to see whether the financial statement is correctly reflected or not. Is there anything that is missing or maybe inappropriate that is mentioned over there? So I believe that's why.
You are working somewhere, Ritika?
Yeah, I'm working in Big Four.
Big Four, right?
Yeah.
In start audit?
No, not in a stat audit. I'm working in internal audit.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ritika, as I've stated to you, when I started this class, the
Yeah.
definition and the clarity of the subject is very, very important. You will get confused between option A, B, C, D. If you see this particular question, and the purposely I've kept given, I thought to discuss this question. I spent some time. This is exactly out of 125 questions in your CIA part 1, I would say 30 to 40% questions will be the same type. You will get confused between A, B, C. See, D, we all know, that straight away it's knockout. We don't know, we are sure that D can't be an option. But it could be A, it could be B, but could be C, correct? Now, let's go back and read the definition once again. Okay, sorry, I have to toggle around because somehow my screen tab is not working, but I have to toggle around. So let's read the definition once again. Okay, internal auditing is an independent, objective assurance and advisory services to add value and improve organization operations. Read it once again. Independent, objective assurance and advisory services to add value and improve an organization. Now, let's go back to our screen. Yeah. What is the purpose of internal audit? The question is the purpose of internal audit. If you see the definition, independent, are you seeing any independent word over here, guys?
No, it is not there. Yes.
No.
Okay. Is there a assurance word over here?
Yes.
Additional assurance, not objective assurance.
And this additional assurance is related to what? Financial statement. Is
Right.
internal auditor role is limited to financial statement as per the definition?
No, no.
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 Operation.
And the third was adding value to the organization. So now you tell me which is the closest one in this one.
A.
A.
Answer is A, adding value to the organization. So guys, it's very, once you read it, oh God, this is very easy. I know the answer. B, C, D. And you are missing the very, very important part. Think it from a wider picture. Additional assurance, see, if there was, assume there was adding value was not there. Assume, 1 second, assume this was not there. Okay, this sentence was not there. Here it was some, reporting to, say for example, CFO. Then in that case, Ritika, I would have gone to option B because I don't have any choice, or I would have gone to option C to the extent possible.
C will be the better choice.
Exactly. I will not go with B. I would go with C because it's about design and functioning of internal controls. In fact, there is another question specific to similar type where the option C is internal control. So you have to read it, which is the closest one. Keep the definition in mind. The internal audit, assurance, independent, objective assurance, consulting advice, and value to the organization. 3 very, very important words. And hence, if you do that, you would be able to. And so let me open my answer now. Correct answer is A. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
I think we have taken 30 minutes to cover one definition. We need to move fast. That's okay. See, it was important one. It's, okay. So we'll quickly move to the other section. Let me share my screen. Okay. So now quickly, we have discussed about the definition, the purpose, or you can say, the end objective of internal auditor. Please quickly have a read what it enhances. See, internal auditor enhances the achievement of an organization objectives, the govern. What is enhances? The enhances word means improving, evaluating, and then, whatever there is a lacuna or whatever they are lagging behind, you are enhancing those stuffs. So successful achievement of organization objectives, governance, risk management, and control processes, making decisions, reputation and credibility with the stakeholders, very, very important. And Ritika and many of us would be working in IA function. If you do not have a right relationship with your stakeholder, the amount of effort you will spend in obtaining the evidences, the data, see, please understand the end objective of any organization is to make profit, and it's by given. How much observation you identify for them, and let's be honest, IA is important, internal audit function is important for them, but their first important primary responsibility is to make profit, make business, because that's the return they are giving to their stakeholder. Hence, your relationship with the stakeholders become very, very important. While they understand the importance of internal audit function, but at the same time, if you need, you are not seeing them, or they are not seeing you as a police, or they are seeing you as a fault finder. You are not that. Your responsibility is to sit with them, speak with them, make them understand your importance, get the data, understand the processes, identify the gaps, and provide them a recommendation. Hey, you were supposed to do like this, you should do in this way. You can't put an authoritative decision, boss, you can't do this, you are fired from the company, you are writing a mail to management. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to advise them, coach them, provide the right recommendation, and monitor them. That's it. Because even they knew that there is somebody who is looking after us. And the last but not the least is the ability to serve the public interest. So, internal audit, we discussed the definition, what's the end purpose, and what they are supposed to do. Clear? Any question? Okay. See, this is a quick one, very easy, very simple. You may get in exams. Who is supposed to do internal auditing? Okay. Now, see, if you go back to our and anyone who have went to join our orientation classes, once you are certified internal auditor, you are entitled to do internal audit for any company globally. See, I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a CISA certified, I'm an AI practitioner as well. But it does not mean I'm not entitled to do internal auditor. But CIA have their own rules, standards. They have laid down what is do's and don'ts when it comes to the best practices in performing internal auditing. Hence, if you see in the first page itself, IIA has very, very clearly written it is to be performed by skilled professional. When I use the word skilled professional, one could be certified, could not be certified, but the standards which has been given by IIA, they are supposed to follow those standards. So it is performed by competent professional based on the global IA standards. This is a question which in exam will ask, who is supposed to perform internal auditing. Now, the options could be certified CA, skilled professional, or somebody CPA certified or CA, and somebody who conforms to global internal audit standard. So definitely your first choice would be done by skilled professional, which is somebody who follow the standards, global internal audit standards. Independent, we are not discussing it again. Position in the organization allows independence with direct accountability to the board. We will talk about the board in the next section. Very, very important. You will at least get 2 questions when it comes to relationship between chief audit executive and board of directors. We'll talk about that. And unbiased, we have just discussed. So we are done with our first section of internal auditing purpose, definition, and when it is most effective. Any question, guys?
How do we know like who is just like having the requirement of global internal audit standards when we are saying what a competent professional? So is it somewhere mentioned?
Sorry, can you come your question again? I'm
So I'm
little bit.
saying when we are talking about skilled professional, the definition is saying competent professional who conform to the global IA standards.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
You are getting confused with who confirm. See, we are not telling anybody that I am following the global IA standards. Confirm word means who follows those standards. Internal audit has to be performed by the skilled professional who are supposed to and who are to follow these standards. Who confirm? There's a word called confirm.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So don't get confused. Confirm. Confirm is something else. So who confirm? See again. I'm sure Ritika or somebody else would be in Big Four. Have you ever heard that IIA came in Big Four and they have actually wanted to scrutinize that are we following those standards? We are a competent professional. We are supposed to follow these standards based on the guidance which has been listed in by the IIA. And we will talk about there are some ethics and professional. There's a separate sections to it. So conform means we are supposed to follow these standards.
Sir, this is only when it is most effective. That doesn't mean that an internal audit team, all the members would be in the know-how of the auditing standards, right? I can't claim that from a quality perspective that I'm following the standard, but still performing the internal audit function.
Sorry, can you can you come again, please?
So generally, we mention in our charter, right, whether we are conforming to the internal IIA standards or not. But if still I am not following internal audit standard because all my team members are not aware of that or in know-how of that standards, okay, still they are eligible to perform the internal audit function because we also have chartered accountants, we have our own guidance note on internal audit.
Okay. Who has written that guidance note? Somebody in your organization, some partner or senior management who have written those guidance.
Right.
That guidance, how they would have written those guidance? They would have followed the standards by IIA. See, when you, if anybody is a chartered accountant, when you do your CA, there is a professional and ethics as a topic specifically in our chartered accountant. See, we as a chartered accountant, and many would have heard, we cannot advertise ourselves. CA Vivek Kumar Budhia, there's a firm, we can't do that. So the point which you are talking about, there are team members in your organization. Say for example, you are working as a director, and there are 20 team members reporting to you, and they are very junior team members. They may not be knowing those IA standards, but they have been told that when you go and do an internal audit, these are the 10 traits what you need to follow. They may not be aware of hundreds of traits, all the rules and regulations, but the basics ones which you as a director or management or a partner have trained you or guided you, this is what you need to follow based on the charter what I have written. Now, these charters from time to time you keep on refining them and then making sure that your team members are following those guidance. See, what happens is many a times if you do not follow these standards and if you do not follow adequate procedures, see, today nothing will happen, but if something goes wrong in that particular client where you are doing an internal audit function, then the questions start raising on you and your standards, which basically means this company went into bankruptcy, or there's a fraud which has happened of $1,000,000. In spite of having an internal audit function, you haven't followed your standards. Take an example. There are 4 audit cycles. You were supposed to do expense audit, P2P audit, financial statement audit, and take an example, manufacturing production audit or sales audit. Now, in this entire cycle, the sales audit was not conducted in last 3 years. Somehow you are not able to meet your annual auditing plan. You are just completing procurement cycle or 2 cycles of auditing every year, and the sales audit hasn't been conducted in last 3 years. Now all of a sudden, after 3 years, we found out there is a customer overdue which is more than 70% of the total revenue what company typically make. After 3 years, a company with so much of receivables which is standing in their books, what will happen? they will not able to make the money, and finally they are not able to repay back to their suppliers or repay back to their employee. Who is responsible? We guys as an internal auditor didn't follow the standards. We haven't followed the annual auditing plan. We haven't done our job, and that's the reason we haven't raised these questions in the eyes of board of directors, and that's the reason it got failed. Understood?
No, my question arises from a point like, let's suppose we have an expert of ITGC, okay, who is a B.Tech from an engineering background doing an ITGC audit, and they are skilled for ITGC, but they are not in know-how of the global IS standards. Okay, so when I say conformance, it should be as a team or as an individual.
As a team, as a okay,
As a
so
team, right?
as a team, yes, yes, yes.
So my question was relating to that only because all the team members somehow were not from the background of CA or IIA or from a technical background, because today's we audit most of the systems where we also hire engineering backgrounds and the
Correct.
developers to audit something, and they might not be in conformance of the professional ethics and other things which they might be given training of, but even they are not in that as a team, it's the conformance or the skill should be mentioned, right? Not as an individual.
Absolutely. See, again, I don't know about which organization, and we can discuss separately. That's fine. I don't want you to share on this open platform, but typically I'll give you my example. There are 300 people reporting to me in the company where I'm working. Now, if you see, every quarter we have our IEA standard training, and I have at least 50 ITGC persons. They are from BSc and BTech background. They are doing anti-general controls. I have a person from a PCI DSS standpoint. I have a person from a AI standpoint as well, who's a hardcore AI developer as well. Okay. Now, now they are not aware of these standards, we definitely understand. But what is the end objective? How we make sure that there are changes which are happening in the internal audit IIP framework, professional framework, or there are many other frameworks which has been laid down from a professionalism standpoint. Every quarter we have our own training. This is what is the acts are saying. This is what we are supposed to do. When you speak with your process owner, these are things you should take care of. These are the things when it comes to report writing. You cannot write a report without your advice recommendation. So these are do's and don'ts. We keep on have such discussion within our training functions, and that's what we are guiding them. See,
Noted.
they may not undergo CIA courses, or they may not undergo because they are supposed to do ITGC audit. Now when we do ITGC, for all the ITGC we have a business control associated with that. Now when it comes to review, it comes to my review. I am a CIE certified, so I know what traits, I know what professional standards I need to follow. So if he or she is not following those standards, it's my responsibility to go back and make sure that that team member follows those standards.
Noted.
I also have one doubt. I'm saying even if they don't follow the standards, but with their experience, they know how to do internal audit because they're doing from 20 years. They could be a BCom, right? So is it necessary to follow those standards, or it is good to have?
Standards following is necessary. Point number one.
Okay.
Now, you may not be knowing all the standards because on the day-to-day practice standpoint, at your level, you may not be that. See, you are not, you as an individual, if you are speaking with the board of directors, because if you are chief audit executive, you are supposed to know the IAS standards. That's by given. But if you are if you are a manager, if you are a director at a junior level reporting back to a partner, and if you are not aware of any standards, your partner will guide to you. But you are supposed to work based on that standards. There are professional ethics which is defined. You can't go and audit and without following. You don't have a risk management plan, you don't have a risk register, and you straight away go and do an audit. That doesn't happen. The standards are laid down that if you have to do an audit execution, before that, these are the three things what you need to do. Three things means you need to have the charter, you need to speak with the board, you need to get the approval from the board that these are standards. approval from the board, charter, mandate. These are standards. Professional ethics. These are standards. You have to follow this when you reach to execution level. When it comes to report writing, when it is submitting the report to the board, you need to have a recommendation. You need to have a management action plan. You need to obtain the dates from your process owner that please provide your action plan and when are you going to implement that. You need to provide the impact assessment. These are things which are by given. You have to do that. Again, if you are not doing, your partner or your senior management is aware of that these are the basic guidance which someone has to follow, and they will anyway automatically tell you. Now, if that individual is doing from last 20 years, every time you don't need to open the book and read it. You know that these are the basic standard which I am following. I have to follow that. If there is a change in the standard, my management will tell me.
Absolutely agree. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So can you move to another section?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So guys, two very, very important word. Very, very important word. Okay. And, without this, we can't move ahead. And when Madhusudan or whoever was talking about standards, it starts from here. Anyone, simple language, can somebody tell me what is mandate and what is charter? Anyone?
Mandate is the authority that board provides, and that is included or that is part of the charter. Charter is a very wider term, and mandate is only a part of the scope that has been given by the board to the internal audit
Very good.
department.
Very good.
So
Anyone else?
mandate is what exactly you need to do. That is tells us the purpose of internal audit, and charter is the detailed version. What exactly you have to do, how you will do, how can you do it, and what powers you have to do it.
Okay. Good. Anyone else?
So I think mandate is more of from a board level, probably giving us the guidance on 30,000 feet what we need to do, and charter would be a roadmap or probably how we'll be doing that. Yes.
Okay. Let me give you a story. Okay. And it's while all Puneet or Ritika, whoever have spoken, that's absolutely right. Okay. So, but let me give you a story. Okay. Take an example. Uh, you want to open a club in your society. Take an example. You wanted to open a club in your society. Now you went to society chairman or in your vicinity, wherever you stay, you went to the responsible authority for that particular society and you told them that I wanted to open a club for student who are recently passed or student with the 10th and 12th or whatever it is who are actually studying in colleges. For them, I wanted to open a club, and there are some this is the end objective. Now what club has done is, club told you very clearly, fine, you can do that, but there are some restriction what you need to follow. What are those such restriction? So they told you can't you can't collect money in that club. These are standard rules because you are not you are just using for a fun play to play carom and all those stuff, have a table tennis and all those stuff. So the club owner, or you can say the chairman of that society, or whoever it is, for given you a mandate, or I have told you that these are two things what you can't do, and he has given a go ahead to open the club. You can't take money from the students. You can't have late night parties in that club beyond 6 p.m. The club has to be closed, and there won't be any other you can say illegal activity in that particular club. The student or the folks who has actually taken that initiative, they went back and then they internally discussed and they told, fine, this is okay. We got an approval. This is mandate. Mandate basically means it's a decision given by authority person for which he or she hasn't need to take any vote. If you see here, mandate in internal audit definition, the board will give the management, senior management, and chief audit executive that you are free and you are supposed to do internal audit. He has given you a mandate. He has established that function. He has approved that things, and he support the function to do that particular thing. That's the mandate. Now, these students, when they came back, now they are writing a bylaws. Now, in that bylaws, they are writing the age. We will not take people student outside of, say for example, from a different city. We just want in that club only students from this city can participate. They can get themselves enrolled. Second, 6 p.m. the club will be closed. The club will open at. So you are writing the entire bylaws in that particular document. You are capturing that. Say for example, Ritika, you will be appointed as a president of that club. Punit, you will be appointed as a treasurer of that club, or someone else will be appointed as a secretary of that club. These are roles and responsibility which you have fixed. President will supposed to do this, treasurer is supposed to do this, someone is supposed to do that. That's a governance principle, the reporting relationship you have defined, captured in that document is called charter. I'll take a pause. It's very simple, easy to understand. What is mandate, what is charter, and then we can go through definition one by one. But just to start with, I thought. Any question?
Thank you. No.
Okay, so from a definition standpoint, if we have to read, mandate specifies the internal auditor their authority. Very important word, authority. Roles and responsibility, do's and don'ts. Everything is get documented in the charter. So mandate tells what you are supposed to mandate. You got the authority, done. Now mandate specifies internal audit's authority, role and responsibility, which eventually get documented in the charter. It gives internal audit the right to provide the board and senior management with objective assurance, advice, insight, and foresight. Thus, internal audit has a dual relationship with board, and we will talk about why board, why senior management, why that relationship is important. We'll talk about that in next slide. And the mandate should be performed by bringing a systematic, disciplined approach in evaluating and improving the effectiveness of governance, risk management, and control process. Very simple definition. If you read through it, and definitely there would be one or two questions specific to mandate and charter. So it's simply to understand. Just think through an order from someone. An order from someone that IA has to follow. That is mandate. If I have to talk in layman language, an order from someone that has to be followed. Cool. Now let me go to the next charter. Okay. Sorry, let's first complete the mandate. Now, mandate, it's where it's agreed and defined that. So say, for example, the story which I have just told you guys in terms of opening a club. Now, the president of the club told, or you can say the owner of that vicinity who has given a permission to open that club, have told that, Ritika, you are the president. You will report directly to me. And you'll be giving a daily report back to me. You will be providing me in terms of, the report on the well-being of that club, what has went wrong, what's going well, and all those stuffs. As well as, so that, president, or you can say that authority of that local area, he or she have also told locally in your society, there is a society president, you need to administratively report from a day-to-day operational standpoint. So if you see, read that sentence, the IS states, mandate states the chief audit executive must give the board and senior management information that to establish a mandate. If a law or regulation prescribes a mandate, the charter must. So it's very important. If there is a mandate and if law or regulation, many states have a law or regulation which prescribes the mandate, the charter, the bylaws, what we have created in terms of having a detailed stuffs around do's, don'ts, who will be the reporting relationship, everything what you document in the charter in a detailed notebook, any legal requirement that gets captured in your charter. As discussed, the CA is a person, senior position responsible for effectively managing the internal audit. See, now this word chief audit executive, it gets changed. Many organizations may have chief audit officer, CAO. Many organizations may have head of internal audit. Many organizations may have, now if you see the standards, typically chief risk officer, CRO, or chief controller officer, which is CCO, chief audit, say many times they may have one person having multiple hats. He is responsible for third line of defense. He is also responsible for compliance, maybe statutory compliance or the local GDPR compliances, and he is responsible for doing a risk assessment as well. So third line of defense may wear multiple hats, and you may get a question where one person having a multiple hats. So he has to be very clearly obtain the board's approval, and we'll discuss that in detail. Board's approval, making sure that there is a clear wall between the work what is done by third line of defense, how much he can interfere, how much he cannot interfere. These are the things which has been defined in the standards. But in today's world, we have significant cost pressure because internal audit function at times is seen as a cost center, not as a profit center. Hence, we end up having everything clubbed into one function. We'll talk about that detail. But chief audit executive is a person who reports directly to the board, administratively to the senior management, but ultimately he is independent and free to talk to the board directly. Now, the board and senior management decide the type of internal audit service to be offered. Why? The recommendation comes from chief audit executive based on the risk assessment plan and preparing a risk register. CAE decide that okay, in this quarter, in this year, I will be doing X number of audits. I don't have so much bandwidth. I'm hiring, say, for example, a big four or a tier 2 CA firm. They will be performing internal audit on my behalf as well for certain processes, certain areas. I need to take back this plan to my to my senior management to get their guidance and their views. Senior management may come back and say, hey, you haven't included expense audit in the plan. Last year, we haven't had a very good employee expenses. We have seen some excessive expenses have been incurred or some illegal expenses have been incurred. Why don't you include that in the plan as well? Internal audit, chief audit executive will go back to the board, include expense audit in the plan, and finally that plan get presented to the board of directors, and finally boards approve that plan. So if you see, the board and senior management decide the type of services to be performed. The CA should work with both internal and external assurance service providers. These corporations help everyone involved to clarify his or specific roles and responsibility. The CA also must document to refer to the mandate in the approved board of charters. The CA should regularly assess whether any changes. Now, if there are any changes in the organization, so say for example, there is a change in CEO and the charter which was previously created needs those changes. So any changes in your charter or any changes in your organization's goals, objective. So this year we are not, so there was a plant in, say for example, north of India. Now that plant is having a severe strike, blah, 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 union issues. This year we are not including that plant in an internal audit. Take an example from a safety and all those stuff point. So fine, we go back in plan, we edit that, or we don't want to conduct audit for that plan because we are selling that plant or whatever it is. Any changes in your organization, you go back, change your plan accordingly, change your mandate as needed. So that's exactly what mandates the internal audit as a function. Any question?
So only one thing. So I think probably if CAE also reports to group CFO, so CFO will be talking to the board or CAE will be talking to the board?
Very good question, Madhusudan. You won't believe I was expecting this question. See, nowadays, I understand all the head of audit typically reports to CFO. If you see the standards, standard says administratively you can have a reporting line to CFO. But when it comes to presentation of the audit report, it's the CAE who will present to the board. While CFO can has his or her opinion, he can talk directly to the board in his other meeting that this is something which we are having and all those stuff. But the best practice and standard says chief audit is executive reporting directly to the board.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
There will be a question which will get you confused. 100% it will get you confused by without thinking otherwise. It's board, CAE reporting to board, very clear.
Okay. Okay.
Let me show you some of the questions. Just give me a second, and I'll show you how people get at times get confused. Just a minute, sorry, 30 seconds. Okay, let me share my screen. And there are 3 questions which I'm asking. And guys, once this poll issue gets sorted out, we are going to have the online exams as well, where I'll be preparing and providing you the set of questions. Okay, so guys, Madhusudan and especially obviously for everyone, read question number 13. Just give me a second, you can spend your time. Okay. Read question number 13. What will be the answer?
Chief Audit Executive.
Okay.
Should be
Anyone?
D. It should be D, a combination of A. I'm confused. So, yeah.
Okay.
It should be D.
Okay. Because you get confused with the word external assessment.
Yes. I thought because they are doing, so probably they should present to board along with the
Okay.
internal auditor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a assessment of an internal audit activity.
Yes.
So what internal audit doing is something assessed by somebody else. So ideally they only have to go and present it to the board, not the CAE. What my
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Anyone
feel
else?
about co-sourcing of audit, and I think CAE should be the one who will be presenting to the board only.
Absolutely. Guys, first, we are talking about internal auditor. We are talking of third line of defense. External assessment of the internal audit. What do you mean by external assessment of internal audit?
Means whatever the scope is given, we don't have the required strength or the bandwidth. We have assigned that work other
Absolutely.
audit.
Yeah. See, I'm the only head of audit. See, again, guys, chief audit executive is the word typically coined and given by IIA, which typically is the right recognition of the head of audit, what we say. This person could be head of IA. It could be, internal audit head, any designation. But for IIA, for CIA, the word is chief audit executive. which means if I'm the head of internal audit, I'm a chief audit executive, I don't have strength, I don't have people, or the audit is for a remote location, or say, for example, the audit is for, so let me put it in this way. There's a plant of Birla Group, Novelis, which is based out of US. Now, my team doesn't have a US visa, and we have to do the internal audit for Novelis as a plant, which is in US. What I've done is I have hired a local CA firm or CPA firm in US to conduct the internal audit for that particular plant. Right? Now they have presented a report back to me. Who will communicate the result? Is it the external auditor? No, they definitely never. So first thing is remove this option. External auditors straight away means stat auditors. So straight away this will never happen. So this option is gone in the first place itself. Internal auditor. What is internal auditor? If I have two options, why will I select internal auditor? For me, either it could be audit committee or chief audit executive. Now, who is audit committee? Audit committee is a group of senior management who ultimately reports to board. Audit committee is a head of independent directors looking after only the auditor, auditors regulations and all those stuff. But ultimately they report back to board. But who is responsible for communicating the result? Because audit committee don't know the result. Result is only known to IA head or head of audit or chief audit executive.
Exactly.
So it will be C. Clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Now let's go to 12 number question.
In Indian context, I just want to understand that the appointment is under section 138. So can the external auditor be also appointed under section 138 to the board, and then he representing the same to the board?
Individual objective of the internal
Vivek, can you please go on mute? Sorry, I'm Puneet. I was not able to listen. Sorry, Puneet. Can you
Under Indian context, the appointment is under section 138. So even though CAE is appointed, can the co-source auditor also be appointed under section 138 and they both report to the board directly?
No, not possible. Board can approve the appointment of the co-source auditor. You can go back and tell that I need to appoint somebody in Indian context. I need to hire a local CA firm because of I do not have a maximum strength. But when it comes to reporting to the board, that firm will report back to the chief audit executive or the head of internal audit of that firm, and he provides the result back to the board. But
Okay.
your question is from a section standpoint. 138. Can I appoint a co-source auditor? I need to go back and check whether the section allows. But board definitely approves the appointment of external, for external internal auditor.
Okay.
Yeah. But section I need to check. I'm not aware of that section. Okay, 12 number.
It's B, the chairperson of the audit committee. Yeah. Or chief auditor.
So guys, that's what I'm saying here. You have to clear what is written in the book. What you have learned till now in your practical daily life, you have to unlearn them. You have to unlearn them and then think from a different perspective. Think what book has written. Switch on what book is written.
It is
Option D.
CA. D.
Option A.
No, it's option A. Read the question once again.
Maintain individual objective.
There's a word called responsibility. Whose responsibility is to obtain the objectivity?
Correct.
Right. A.
CAE can't do that until unless boards do that. If, say for example, board has appointed us, but he hasn't given us so much of power to do an internal audit for a manufacturing plant or for an IT company, and they are building a AI patent based product in their R&D function. For the pharmaceutical company, they are actually building an R&D product. They are building a product for some kind of a critical disease, and board has given a mandate to do an audit for that R&D function. Why? R&D function may be in your plan or may not be in your plan, but if your board doesn't mandate, you can't go and do a function of those critical, confidential stuffs. Now, individual objectivity, as we discussed initially, board has to give us that power. It's the board who decides everything. Tone at the top. Think from that angle. Okay, let's go to 10 number.
It's B, the board of directors.
B.
Santosh D. Why Santosh? Shashank D. Madhusudan D. Jaydev D.
No, it is
Ritika
B.
D.
It is B. It is B. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask this time. Ramanathan, why do you think it's A? Ram, can you hear me?
Yes,
Ramanathan?
yes. I can hear you. I can hear you. So the CEO will be the head of the company, right? He will decides.
We just discussed. Read the question once again. Ramanathan, read the question once
Yeah.
again. Break the question, guys. Break the question. Which of the following? Good. Let's forget about. Establish, approve the mandate. The exam will make you confused. Newly formed corporation, bankruptcy company, insolvency company, a company with a joint venture with a partnership who is a person being in US and that person director has died. These are noise. Don't get attracted to those noise. Establish and approve is one sentence, one word. Establish, approve. What you need to approve? Mandate. Who is supposed to approve the mandate? I just discussed, I gave you a storyline that 5 students wanted to create a club in their house. Somebody has to mandate them. Who mandated them? The owner authority of that club or that vicinity. The president or whoever you can say. Here, who is the president finally? It's the board of directors. He is the ultimate authority.
Yeah.
Why will CEO give that authority?
Yeah, got it.
CEO has many other things to do. CAE, Chief Audit Executive, is ultimately has to follow this mandate and then create a charter, and again charter gets to approved by board. Even charter will be approved by board. But ultimately the mandate comes from whom? Board of directors. So guys, do not get confused. It will make you confused. You have to stick what you have learned. Don't apply a simple funda that I was doing an internal audit in my company. I used to do this, I used to do that. Just unlearn and learn it as a fresh. Okay. Guys, am I going fast, slow? If you find any issue, please feel free to tell me.
No, it is okay.
It's okay, sir.
It's okay.
Okay. So where were we? Okay, now, okay, so the board. Now it comes the responsibility of the board. What is responsibility of the board? Board will speak with CAE management about your functions, which we have just discussed. What you have to do, what you not can't do, and all those stuff. The board will approve the charter, including mandate we just discussed. Which service you have to do, which service you can't do. You can't do internal audit for my critical product which I'm making in my automobile. So I'll give you my example, folks. I used to be an internal audit for, and sorry, I'll be using the names which I can't use in the open forum. I was doing an internal audit for one of the largest automobile company in India. And one of the activity in my scope of manufacturing process, something came up that I wanted to do the checks and balance in their R&D function. When I went to R&D function, I discussed with the head of R&D and I told them that I have to do this. That R&D function, the head of R&D clearly told, is R&D in your scope of work? I told no. Is R&D has been approved by the board or the senior management? Have you discussed this with your senior, with my senior manager, maybe managing director or CEO, that you are going to do an audit of R&D? I told no, R&D is not in scope, but there is something which is attached to my existing scope of work, and hence I need to validate the R&D stuff. Then he actually wanted to understand what you wanted to do. Is it something which you will get aware of my new product launch in automobile? And if that information goes out of this plant, then it may happen that my company start getting aware of what I'm building. So if it is just to validate, you give me things, I will do it myself, but I will not allow you to enter the R&D premises until unless you have the approval from the board or senior management. Here, the mandate means it directly the approval from the board charter that this is a service which you are performing. But if anything which is associated, with this current set of a data, you are doing an expense audit and you came to know that somebody in the R&D function have actually, doing some malpractices. While there is a restriction in doing an audit for R&D, but if you have found something with a malified intention, present your result to the board and then take the board's opinion that we wanted to do an internal audit for board, then board will decide what action has to be taken. Very, very important in our day-to-day life, but the objective is it has to be driven by board. What's the responsibility of senior management? And that's where Ram or anybody who's ever talking about CFO or CEO, join the conversation with board. Part of discussion with CAE. You can't leave them in isolation. Board can't tell internal auditor, you do anything, forget about CEO, forget about it. No, you can't do this. Bring them together, same table, and then together we should decide what you can do, what you can't do. This is what you will do, will be your responsibility. Your budget, everything I will approve, but day-to-day expenses will. So I'll give an example in global companies. If I am the head of audit for any companies, my expenses are approved by CFO because my reporting relationship is with CFO, but my reports presented to the board. Board has given me a budget. Vivek, you can incur this much expenses, but daily expenses is being approved by board. No, it's with the CFO because that's the reporting relationship. But my report internal audit goes directly to the board. So join the conversation with the board, with CAE, to share thoughts on what the board should expect from IA. Encourage support for internal audit roles. Support is very, very important. If MD or CEO of that plant doesn't tell his reporting line, there's a procurement head who reports to CEO. Now you went to procurement head and you told them that I need a data of open purchase order or a data on the, the PO which hasn't been closed and all those systems. Now the head of procurement hasn't, to inform his team member to provide that data, and you're not getting that data. So what you do is you go back to CEO and you tell them that I'm not getting support. Please help me in doing that. So that's encourage support across the organization and emphasizes the authority has been given. So whenever we go for an internal audit, there's a kickoff meeting which happens with the plant head, with the CEO, and he many times, okay, Madhusan, I'll take that. He many times invite all his direct reporting line and tell them that this team has came 3 months they will be doing these 3 audits. Please support them. That's the tone at the top. Yeah, Madhusudan, good.
Yes, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, please.
probably when we have an audit committee, which is also constituted by board only. So are we talking about board as a audit committee here, or we are talking about full board?
It's ideally full board.
Okay.
Now, have you ever attended the board meeting or audit committee?
I've attended audit committee.
Okay. So what happens is when it comes to audit committee, in audit committee, who all are there in part of audit committee?
Who are the members of audit committee? Like one from investor, one from C, like who is the CEO with the one person, other if two investor, two would be there from. So it's normally form of a board. Some members from board are the audit committee member.
Yes.
Independent
So
director.
Yeah.
independent director.
IDs you can
Yeah.
say, but probably those are either a part of investor, one person from all the investor or CEO. Yeah.
So you will be having chairman or CEO in that meeting.
Yes.
You will be having independent director in that meeting.
Correct.
Investor maybe may not be. I haven't seen that. Maybe may not be. Ideally, there are 2 persons. So independent director isn't someone with an additional responsibility, head of audit committee. What we say
Correct.
the word head of audit committee. He could be
Yes.
independent director, but and then partner from our side, who is the head of internal auditor, say for example, or chief audit executive. Correct?
Correct.
This is a audit committee where we are presenting an audit committee. But finally, there is a board of directors, which is a part of this audit committee in board where we present this report.
Okay. 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 Got it.
Now, many a times, audit committee, you will have an audit director, but you will have other board of directors as well. I have attended in both the circumstances where there was an audit committee plus other board of directors, while decision was with audit committee, but ultimately it was the collaborative decisions taken by board of directors, including audit committee director, head of audit committee, or you can say head of audit committee. You can treat him as a board, but audit committee comprises, if you go for an audit committee, it's typically the senior management and audit committee and partner. But in a larger scheme of things, globally, if you see, there's a board decision which include your audit committee, the senior management, yourself, and other board of directors.
So does it happen like this, right? The presentation happens in ACB, and the ratification of that that happens in the board meetings.
Absolutely. So whenever such questions comes, always use the word board. Don't use the word audit committee. In India, we typically consider audit committee as a standards. I'll be very honest and frank with you. In India, we consider audit committee kar diya na, we are done.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not the case.
Yes.
It's
It is
not the
practical.
case.
Yes.
It's practical. But if you go to the likes of US companies, I've audited in US companies, I've worked there. I know it's not like that. Standard says it's the board. In India, we use the word audit committee. That's okay. But when it comes to exams, use the word board. Do not use the word audit committee. We have just seen one question. Audit committee as such nothing. It's board.
Sure. Thank you.
Guys, I know we are going slow. It's the first day, but we'll keep it fast. Okay. Now let's go to the next section, which is implementation. It's very easy. It's more around the modus operandi of the chief audit executive. How we will respond, how he will work with board, how he will work with us senior management. I'll just quick read through. CAE, as we discussed, inform the board, senior management about the effectiveness of the IA function. Who informs to the board? CAE. What is going good? What is not going good? I don't have person. I don't have bandwidth. This is not working well. Last quarter I have done the audit for this processes. I didn't got the report. I'm putting a disclaimer. All those stuff. He shares everything to the board and senior management about the standards, relevant laws, regulation. There is a new regulation which has income. There is a new Companies Act which has come on. this will impact this. We were used to do Germany audit for one of the manufacturing plant. The GDPR have made a significant changes. These are the regulations. We can't move the data out of Germany locations to India locations. How will we do that audit? We need to have a citrus environment to do that audit. Everything, anything related to your modus operandi, your activity, regulation standards, everything comes part of your information which CAE has to share to board and senior management. Again, I'm repeating, no audit committee, it's board. Okay. So CAE should discuss with board and senior management the mandate and the charter. Any changes in the mandate, any changes in the charter, share back, do those changes, report back. Now, and again, this question typically will not get covered here. If any questions related to execution, which is main job is audit team is what? To carry out the task which has been specified and approved by the board to provide audit services. Sometimes CAE may, very, very important, CAE may also have additional duties. He may have additional duties, risk management, compliances beyond just internal auditing. But he have to be very, very clear what he can do, what he can't do. But at the same time, he has to make sure that board is aware of that I have been asked to head the compliance platform of my organization, where all the whistleblower compliances, harassment related compliances, regulatory related compliances, income tax related compliances. I've been asked to head that compliance function apart from my internal audit duties as well. So go back, tell board, do that changes in the charter if needed, whatever is needed, and make sure that you do that responsibility. At the same time, once you leave that responsibility, has to be clear mandate that you are handling this on a temporary basis. If needed, get that functions audited for next 12 months to make sure that you are independent, you haven't compromised your existing work by adding additional responsibility into your bucket. So there will be a questions which will come. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have one question here. In the purpose statement, it was written to give objective assurance and advisory services.
Correct.
Does advisory services also need to be part of the charter or the mandate and needs to get approved from the board?
Okay, now you are getting confused with the word advisory services. Advisory services does not mean risk advisory services, what we typically use in the layman language. If you go back to this, let me go back to the sentences.
Let's suppose the management comes to us for a special assignment where they want the advice from us in implementation or something. Does
Correct.
that also need to get added into the mandate and approved from the board from us?
Scope of services. If there is a new scope of services which is on the advice of a new plant which I'm rebuilding, please tell me whether it's a viable business or not for me. Do a quick review and due diligence. The answer is yes. Any new scope of service which is getting added has to get a board approval. It's very clear.
Okay.
But in Indian context, we do a lot of things. But probably you are also right. We have to go by books. So, like
In
book
Indian
says,
context, if MD says me, hey, can you do a quick, look after my, very bad example, but consider it. Hey, can you go back and look after managing director said me, hey, I have some doubt of my CEO. Can you do one thing? Can you go back and check the expense statement of my CEO? What will you do? You
I'll
will
go,
go back
I'll
to
check.
board?
And no, probably
You
what I'm
put
saying,
managing.
books.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Right.
See, Indian context, see, as of now, it's a global, you can say, topic, global subject. Indian context, unlearn. Here, any new changes, any new scope of services, I will go to board. Matter over.
So whatever I do, I have to be mandated by board.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
Noted.
Okay. Now, responsibility console. The new responsibility consists of obligations and accountability of the role as well. Performance of the audit. There's a separate chapter to it. Communication. There is a last chapter which we will cover on the communication, which is in CIA part 3. Communication will come there. Attention to compliance with local laws and regulations, absolutely. Conformance with global. So these are responsibility what you need to follow. Very simple. So I'll just quickly move. So the scope of services of IA function covers all of the organization activities under review by internal audit. All of the, there's a word covers all of the organization. Now, based on your bandwidth, based on your availability, based how much you can do, you tell your management, yani board, that I have 3 team members. In this year, my annual plan, these are only 6 scope of areas which I can take. If you want me to do other things, other activities, I need to do courses. So the scope may include all activities. Assets, personnel may be restricted to a subset defined by geography, which we have discussed. The scope may specify the nature of services. Assurance, advisory, financial statement, compliance, laws, regulations, or any other limit. So everything gets specified in your scope of work. And then it goes to the board, presented, there's a minute of meeting which get prepared, and then that finally MOM gets circulated and there is a mandate which goes ahead. Internal audit services may simply be assurance and advisory, and this is Puneet, which you have just asked, or maybe more specific, such as performing auditing, assurance regarding internal control over financial reporting, what we got ICFR or IFC, internal financial control or internal control over financial reporting, and investigation. Doesn't matter you need to be a CFE, it could be anything. In their performance services, internal audit should determine that their operating program objective have been established. Exactly same thing. What you have to do, the scope of service, the plan has been established. What is the end objective? Take the confirmation from the organization, from the board of directors. Matter over. Now this is very simple. If there are any changes to the standards, any changes to the organization, change in the board of senior management, change in strategic, objective, risk profile, operating environment. Operating environment means today we were in a manufacturing of a plastic products. Now we no longer use a plastic product as per the government mandates. We are now into paper bags. So change in environment, new law regulations, everything, whatever there is a change. The internal audit mandates or other aspect, these conditions. So these are the circumstances, a follow-up discussion needed with the board. So there is something which is getting changed. My scope of service is getting changed. Please let us know what is to be done, and then board will come back and tell you that you have to do these things. So CAE will, formally consider these things. So typically, you whenever there is a change frequently, you don't go back and speak with the board. Whenever you get time, annually, or whenever you have a discussion which is a critical changes, you go back, discuss with the board, and do those changes. But at least annually, you need to make sure that these changes are, if there is a material change in your plan, in your scope, standards, make those changes in your mandate and charter. Sorry. Guys, we are done with our topic 1, purpose of internal auditing. I'll take can we take 5 minutes break? How is that?
Sure.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes break. It's 12:40. We will regroup in 12:45.
Today we are having till 1 o'clock. Is it? It's 2. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you want to go somewhere?
No, I had. Yes, I had. But I'll manage. I'll try to manage. Sure. Yeah.
See, internal audit charter is a very, very cool topic. We'll cover it quickly. Don't worry.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Rahul, I can see your message. Sorry, I'm not aware of. So there's no WhatsApp group as of now. I'll check with the VGLD team. Is that okay, Rahul, for you?
Okay, sir.
Sorry, I'm not aware of, but I'll tell somebody from VGLD team if they can create or not, because even I'm not aware of whether these groups can be created, but definitely I'll let them inform.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, folks, can we start? Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen. So guys, a very, very small chapter, but very relevant and very important. Where we left the internal audit, mandate, which was an authority, that's a rule book, or you can say, somebody, you know, have told you to do something, you need to follow that. Now, what is internal audit charter? So, as we have discussed, when somebody have given you a complete permission, no veto power was needed, they wanted you to do this, that's absolutely fine. Now you need to establish and make your own bylaws. You have to make your own, rules and regulations more from a operational standpoint related to your function. So it is a document where you want to write everything, which include from your roles and responsibility, which include the purpose why you are doing this. Now purpose could be anything. There they wanted to create a club. What was the purpose of that club? What are the standards you guys need to follow? Who would be the reporting head for that organization, the governance, and all those things. Same way in case of internal audit, the purpose, the structure, the rights, the roles and responsibility has to be captured based on standard 6.2. While you don't need to read the standard number and everything. So the chief audit executive is the one who develops this document. He captures the purpose of internal audit, the standards adherence, the professional ethics, the scope of the work. If the scope of work for current year is XYZ, the next year the scope of works is getting changed, because this year we covered P2P. Next year we don't want to cover P2P, we want to cover order to cash. So whatever scope of services annually get refreshed in the charter. What are the boards of responsibility? Who would be reporting to the board? The relationships, everything gets captured, accurately reflected, senior management names and everything that's get captured in the charter. Very simple. Now, from a relationship between board and chief audit executive. So board must, there's a word must, speak with CAE and senior management about the additional subject that should be part of internal audit charter to ensure that internal audit functions operates effectively. Any changes, boards wants some additional scope of services to be included. Board wants, some new, you can say new change in the management happening, or any change in the senior management. There's a discussion which happens along with senior management, and those changes gets captured effectively in the charter. So there is no ambiguity between IA function and between the senior management functions. Endorse the internal audit charter. The board endorsed the internal audit. Who prepared that? CAE prepared that. Go back to the board. Board endorses that charter with the outline purpose. Yes, I have seen this. See again, guys, board will not create all those things. Board doesn't have a time. CAE creates, takes to the board. Board says, okay, done. So endorse the charter, outline the purpose. Purpose is everything written by CAE only. But again, in the exam, who does this? Board does this, along with the range and kind of services to be provided. Board does this based on suggestions from senior management. Now board review the charter. If any modifications are needed, the changes are needed, he will do that. Plus, if there is a new CAE who has to be appointed, what will be his objectives, the nature, whatever steps, board will review, board will get approved, include everything in the charter. Very clear, very simple. The last, senior management must communicate with the board and the chief audit executives concerning management expectation that deserves evaluation for incorporation in the charter. So any expectation, he communicate back with the board, CAE, and jointly they go to the board. Board looks after it. Board does the approval. That's it. Clear? Any questions? Shall we do some questions? MCQ?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, now, guys, don't post the answer. I will pick one of, anyone. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, let me pick. Divya, are you there on the in this? Divya Thakur, can you hear us, Divya? Okay, Ekta.
Yeah, yes.
Ekta, can you attempt for question number 14, please? If you see on the
Okay.
screen.
Okay.
That's okay, Ekta. Guys, don't worry. Wrong, right? Everyone will get confused. In fact, I'll tell you very honestly. Before coming for this session, I myself was trying to attempt some of the questions, and there was one question which I myself got wrong. Okay, so don't worry, it's right or wrong, it's absolutely fine. Go ahead, Ekta. What should be the answer?
If
The purpose, authority, and responsibility of the internal audit functions are formally defined in where? Very
the
easy.
record of the proceeding of the board of directors.
No, we just discussed.
D.
Corporate bylaw.
No.
So I missed that topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's important. I'll say you see, it's very simple. You see, whatever is written has to be documented somewhere. Okay, Ritika, you have a question. Please go ahead.
No, sir, I was about to tell the answer, but please go ahead.
Okay. Whatever responsibility which is defined, which has been mandated by the board of directors, someone has to be written. Somewhere has to be written. I was consistently using the word bylaws because
Yes.
it's a document. But at the end of the day, what is the definition of bylaws? What we call a bylaw?
Charter.
See, bylaws is a literal meaning what we are using in day to day. But at the end of the day, where it is captured, it's a formal
Bylaw.
document which is created. It's the charter. We are not, if we are not a corporate, please understand. There is no corporate function. There is no memorandum of understanding. I'm not doing a merger and acquisition. And there is no record of proceeding of the board of directors. We are not, company secretary who creates all those proceedings. It's a formal written charter. So guys, it's important. Read the question. There are some set procedures. Whatever you do in your existing internal audit work, again, I'm repeating, unlearn them and stick to what is written in the book. Okay. Shall we take another chance? Anjali, you haven't spoken. You want to take a shot on question number 1? I don't know why the number has changed. Anyway.
The board of directors has.
Anyone else? Monica, Prateek, you guys want to take a shot?
I think it's option C.
Sorry, please come to option C.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anyone else?
The board of
Do you want to challenge Monica? Anyone? Let me read the question for you guys. The board of organization has charged chief audit executive with upgrading the internal audit activity. Very good. He is supposed to do that. The CAE first asks you to develop a charter. Very good. Which item he will include first?
Very good.
Okay, let's see what is not applicable 100%.
Notified government.
Report all engagement to result to board every quarter. Yes, it's important. Let's see option B first. Notify government regulatory agency. Definitely this is not there. I will immediately, make it red. This is not
Submit.
applicable. Submit variance report to the management. For me, D से पहले
A.
I will go with A. So this
A.
I will put it this on. Hold on. Now let me read C. So for me, B and D is definitely no. Definitely no. Now let me see C. Evaluate the adequacy of effectiveness of internal controls, organization controls. Yes, it's my responsibility. But reporting of engagement result to the board every quarter. Now you tell me which is the first statement. See, understand, both are important. A is important, C is important. B and D ho hi nahi sakta. A and C are important ones. Now you tell me the first responsibility, first item which will form part of my chapter, which will be
C,
C.
because we cannot report without evaluation.
Because the report all engagement result to board every quarter can be done even at the quarter end.
Actually, here
But
the sorry.
Go ahead.
Uh, yeah, actually here the first answer is what the we are doing actually what it is required. But here chief the board of organization has asked to change something. So we need to evaluate for the effectiveness of the organ controller. C will be the right answer, as per my opinion.
Okay. Anyone else?
You told about the first step that the CA is responsibility, right? So there exactly we are going to evaluate everything. Then only we are going to report all the results to the board. So the first step will be the evaluation, the adequacy and the effectiveness of the organization controls.
I think the question
Okay.
is that CA is assigned a task for upgrading the internal audit activity. So in order to do that, the first thing that he needs to do is to evaluate the business and the scope. Okay, to bring in what the controls or what adequate effectiveness controls are to be built around to achieve the organization objective.
Answer will be A, guys.
Yeah, I was actually about to change my answer. I know I was the one who first said C, but I do have a small explanation for this. The last sentence is included in the statement of objective. Ultimately, the objective is yes, engagement results reporting only.
Yes.
And point C would be the sub objective to meet that main
Absolutely right.
objective.
Absolutely right. So if I was just going through my notes, the objective of the internal auditor or the chief audit executive is the reporting responsibility. That's a sub objective. While it's by given, when it comes to statement of objective, their first responsibility is to report to the board every quarter. That's the first responsibility.
A is the right answer.
Yes, sir. I'm showing it on the screen. A is the right answer. Okay.
But sir, Shashank here, I have some query in this. The report all engagement results to the board every quarter. So we are already doing that. Every quarter we are already doing this.
Yeah. Okay.
So if this is ongoing procedure, but if you want something to upgrade, we need to first go to the we need to evaluate the advocacy of the control first. Then we can upgrade anything in the reports, and then we can
See,
report to
Shashank,
the.
read the question once again. The CA first task. They haven't created a charter. And the board of organization have decided to create an internal audit function. They are creating a first charter. First time they are creating. And they wanted a statement of objective has to be created. Now,
B.
what CAE has to do, CAE is aware of that I need to do the internal audit, but that will come scope of services. I will get the charter approved. I will define the scope of services. I will do that.
Which one
Yes.
So,
following
see,
must be
evaluation and
audit
effectiveness of the organization control is something which I will do as part of my purpose is the statement what we created initially, which is around providing value to the organization, providing those. But when it comes to first statement which has to be included, statement of objective, that will be my reporting responsibility to the board every quarter. Every quarter is just a noise. It could be monthly, it could be weekly, it could be half yearly. Reporting all engagements directly to the board is the first responsibility of the charter. Now let's go back to the charter. Charter we discussed just now. Charters is reporting responsibility defined that CAE is reporting to the board. That's the first responsibility.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes.
At times, I know, even the people like us get confused, and we at times don't agree. Hey, yeah, this is not done. This, how can this be? But guys, again, I'm saying is unlearn and learn. Stick to what book says. This is the responsibility board has given us. Charter has to be approved. This is the reporting to be board. My first responsibility. The word is audit committee is not there. It's board. It's chief audit executive. Forget about head of audit. You have to understand. Keep these words in your mind. Forget about that. Okay. Let's go to second number. Which one of the following must be included in the charter? See, ideally, let's cross out the least two. Which two you will first remove?
C and D.
C and D.
Very good. C and D to ho hi nahi sakta. Let's remove them. Now let's focus on A and B.
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 A.
Okay, who told A?
So me.
I told it.
Very good. How many are with B and how many are with A?
Because
so
he
Ritika
also.
and Shashank are A, correct? Punit, what
Yeah.
about you?
I'm with B.
Okay. Let's go back to first chapter we discussed. What was that? Anybody knows? There was a one word which was written in the first chapter.
Objective.
The purpose statement.
Purpose of internal auditing.
Absolutely right. Purpose of internal audit. It was not objective statement. It was a purpose of internal audit. Answer is B. It's the purpose of internal audit.
Right.
It was
So,
not
but
objective.
purpose is defined in mandate, don't you think? Like it is going to define in mandate.
Sorry.
We are talking about internal audit charter right now, right? But the purpose of internal audit is always defined in mandate, not in charter.
Mandate doesn't define anything. Mandate is the authority which is given to internal audit. Yes, we need to have internal audit function. You need to go and do these things. Now you create a charter for me where you define everything in detail. You don't have a separate mandate where it's a complete 10-pager document the way we create in charter. That's not mandate. Mandate is a simple 1-pager document which says, I, board of director, authorize internal audit function to conduct so and so things. Done. Now that goes entire detail. What will be my purpose? Who will be my reporting relationship? What activity I'll be doing? What scope of work I'll be doing? That's everything comes in my charter. And the first statement which comes is the purpose.
I think in internal audit charter, the first point is mentioned as purpose of internal auditing.
Absolutely.
That is from where it is coming.
I'll try and find if I can, send you one charter, but actually I have to remove some company names. But I can showcase you one example of internal audit charter. The first sentence in the paragraph comes the internal audit purpose, the purpose of this audit function. Okay, let's go to kitna hai? Okay, 3 more. So question number 3, guys.
Must have reported the release.
The chief audit executive must have reporting relationships to who? Board. That allows the internal audit function, very good, to fulfill by responsibility. Absolutely. Evidence of such reporting relationship is So first is internal audit charter, which documents my responsibility, my reporting. Very good. Yes, it does. My reporting relationship is not part of my option B. Definitely no. Option C is a response of inquiries of management about. Absolutely no. Meeting minutes that document the circumstances in which management created. So what will be the answer, guys?
A.
A.
Now you guys are now smarter than me.
Because it's about document and it's mentioned that
Absolutely.
is document.
Absolutely. Okay, last two guys.
After the chief audit executive receive.
After the chief audit executive receives approval from board. Yeah, I got an approval that I can do an advisory services. Very good. This was question I think Puneet you asked. What should be
Right.
done?
Right.
So one, CA should begin. Acha, we'll see. Get approval from internal audit. Arey Baba, CA is on internal audit. What
C.
approval he needs from my end?
C.
Internal
Answer
audit
is
charter should
The
be
answer
amended.
is C.
The board should develop appropriate policy for conducting such engagement. Guys, read the question once again.
sorry, it should be A.
I think it's C.
Yeah, I think it is A actually.
See, guys, I'll tell you one thing. A and B never it can be. It can't be. A and B will never, get captured because I'll tell you. The CA cannot directly start performing the advisory service. That's very given. They can't do that. Second, CA themselves is an internal auditor, so forget about B. Now, either it could be C, either it could be D.
So it is going to be C.
C.
Yeah, definitely not D because the board is not going to develop anything. And
It's
already
a CAE.
CAE. Yeah, it's a
Absolutely,
CAE.
Malika. It's a CAE who developed the policy, not board. So D,
Yeah.
cross out. Answer is C.
C.
But I just want to understand. It's saying that they have received the approval from the board. Then the amendment should happen after, or approval is to the amendment itself.
Board
First,
has
board has given the discussion has happened and board has approved it. Now we need to amend and get the formal ratification done. Is that
See,
the thing?
board have gave you something. Go ahead and do it. If the sentence would have written that board have approved the charter with the advisory services, then and assume C is also there, then the answer should be D. If the question was after chief audit executive receives approval on the charter from the board to offer advisory services, what should be done? Then my answer would be D. Then CA should develop policies, procedures for conducting such engagements. Once you develop that, then you perform the advisory services. That's how the sequence would be. But here, they haven't used the word charter. And the options are there with charter as well. So I'll go with the closest options, which is option C, which is charter. I need to go and amend.
Okay.
That's
I actually changed the answer because of that only, because I thought it is how would the amendment would work if the approval is already there.
I will read it. Option A is incorrect because after the chief audit executive receives the board approval, the internal audit charter must be amended and the CAE must establish policy and procedure. So what I told, after you get board approval, you establish the charter, you create the policy, and then you begin the advisory services. Now, CAE does not, option B, CAE does not need additional approval, obviously. Option D, because CAE first established and CA can only establish when the charter is amended. So option C is the answer.
So even
So
one more line can be added in this. If we are going to study the assurance services and one line is written in that chapter, that is there should be no conflict between the assurance and advisory for internal audit. That's why we need to amend the charter before going ahead proceeding with the advisory services.
And I will come to that topic when we reach to
Yeah.
assurance. There's a
Yeah, yeah.
specific chapter on assurance, you know that.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
cover that. Don't worry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So due to offer advice service, the approval taken, that's why it will come to C.
Yes. Guys, last question of the day.
The authority of the internal funds.
It's a C answer, I think.
The board and the authority of the internal audit funds.
Okay, let me ask.
C.
So okay. Anjali, your answer?
My answer is C.
Okay, okay, that's okay, Jaydev. Monica, your?
Mine is C.
Very good. Anjali, yours? Quick, guys, quick.
C.
Okay. Okay. Punit, yours?
C.
Very good. Ritika, yours?
C.
Ramanathan?
C.
Neha? Vidya?
C, sir. C.
Then I don't need to discuss. Answer is C.
Right.
Okay, so guys, that's where we take a pause. We completed. So in the first, if you let me just open back this one. Okay, so in terms of the index part, if you see, we have covered the chapter 1 and chapter 2, which is oh sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. My bad. One second.
Purpose of internal audit.
Yeah. So guys, we have covered purpose of internal auditing. We have covered internal audit charter. Tomorrow we'll be covering impairment of independence, very easy chapter, and we'll touch base. See, we have a detailed chapter on risk management, but we will touch base on role in risk management. So these are the two chapters we'll be covering tomorrow. We'll do some Q&A, but for today, I think we can take a break here, or we can wind up our class. But before that, guys, happy to take any feedback, questions, anything which is not going right, which you think for me to improve. Happy to hear back from you guys.
All are good, sir.
Yeah, we enjoyed this session.
Yes, sir. It
Thank
was
you.
really informative and we enjoyed the session.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vivek, with the examples that you are putting in, right? So it is useful. So, and one suggestion that if you come up with a poll or something, in even more,
I will
would
do
be
that.
interesting.
I will see. I see. It was first day, and see, there's some challenges. I have to navigate. See, if I would have been having own my screen, I would have done that because I do it for my calendar with company which I'm working on, which I head that. But it's a environment which I have to operate on their environment, so I was not able to navigate. So I'll try and fix that.
No
Sorry
issue.
for
Yeah.
that.
That's a suggestion.
Okay, guys, have a nice day.